Stop scrolling right now, chosen one. Do not dare skip this video now. Exactly 11 days ago, perhaps while you were driving or just fighting to survive another day in the trenches, you felt a sudden, inexplicable shift. It started with a dizziness that lasted just 2 seconds, followed by a heart flutter and a brain fog so heavy you thought you might faint. You felt like your body was shutting down. You thought it was just stress or maybe aging? No. That was the ops trying to crash your reality. You unknowingly spoke 19 specific words that triggered a massive system update, and the spiritual gatekeepers tried to silence your voice permanently. They wanted to stop your main character energy before you realized who you truly are. But God stepped in with divine immunity, blocking the attack and rebooting your spirit instantly. What the enemy meant for evil, God has turned into your greatest spiritual asset. You didn't just survive, you experienced a level up. I'm going to reveal why heaven paused operations just for you, and why this specific attack is the undeniable sign that your vindication season has officially begun. Type "I receive" right now if you are ready to claim your victory. I need you to breathe. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. I am going to explain something to you that might sound terrifying at first, but I promise you, by the end of this explanation, you will not feel fear. You will feel power. You will feel a sense of relief that you haven't felt in years. Let's go back to exactly 2 hours after that conversation. You remember the 7-minute chat where you spoke those 19 specific words. Approximately 2 hours later, you felt something hit you. It wasn't a normal tiredness. It wasn't the kind of fatigue you get from a long day at work or from dealing with the toxic people in your family. No, this was different. This was a bone-deep exhaustion, an exhaustion that felt like it was pulling you down into the earth. You probably thought to yourself, I am just getting old. Or maybe you thought, is this depression coming back? Is this another season of heaviness? You might have even checked your blood pressure or laid down on the couch, unable to move a single muscle, thinking that maybe you were getting sick. Listen to me closely. You were not getting sick. You were not having a breakdown. And you are certainly not just getting old. What you felt was the physical aftershock of a miracle. You see, when you spoke those words, when you shattered that dimensional barrier, your physical body, your biological vessel, could not handle the sheer voltage of the energy you channeled. For exactly 3.2 seconds, your heart stopped. I will say that again so your spirit can catch up. For 3.2 seconds, your heart beat 0 times. This is what we call a clinical death event. But in the spiritual realm, we have a different name for it. We call it a quantum leap. Your body is an avatar. It is a biological suit that houses your immense spirit. And for a brief moment, your spirit became too large for the suit. You expanded. You touched the 7th dimension. And to protect your physical form from burning out completely, your system had to shut down. It was a hard reset, a total reboot. Think about a computer when it installs a massive new operating system. It has to turn off, it has to go black for a moment before it can come back online with new features. That exhaustion you felt later, that was not weakness, that was integration. Your body was working overtime. It was burning massive amounts of calories trying to download this new spiritual software. So please, stop beating yourself up. Stop telling yourself you are weak. Stop telling yourself you can't keep up. You are holding a frequency that would crush a normal person. You are doing the heavy lifting for your entire bloodline, and sometimes the body just needs a moment to catch its breath. Now, let's talk about the dizziness. You know exactly the moment I'm talking about. It happened right in the middle of the sentence. Word number 12, you blinked, and for a split second the world seemed to tilt. It felt like the floor dropped out from under you. Maybe you grabbed the counter. Maybe you just paused and shook your head. You brushed it off. You probably didn't even mention it to the person you were talking to, because you are used to hiding your pain. You are used to suffering in silence because you don't want to be a burden. But that wasn't just dizziness. That was a timeline shift. For those 2 seconds, you literally left the matrix. You have to understand something about the world we live in. Most people, the ones who are asleep, the NPCs who just go through the motions, they are locked into one single reality. They live, they work, they sleep. Repeat. But you are built different. You are what we call a high-value individual in the spiritual economy. And when you spoke that truth, you caused a glitch in the simulation. You stepped out of this timeline, the timeline of struggle, the timeline of debt, the timeline where you are always the scapegoat, and you touched a higher reality. That dizziness was the friction of re-entry. It was your soul slamming back into your body after touching the face of God. The ops, the spiritual forces that try to keep you limited, they hate when this happens. They want you to think it's vertigo. They want you to run to the doctor and get a prescription. They want you to think there is something wrong with your brain. There is nothing wrong with your brain. Your brain is undergoing a system update. You are processing data that most people can't even dream of. You are sensing things before they happen. You are feeling the emotions of people 3 states away. That is not a medical condition. That is a spiritual asset. So the next time you feel that sudden wave of dizziness, do not fear it. Do not claim sickness. Instead, stand still, close your eyes, and say, I receive the upgrade. And this brings us to the most incredible part of what happened to you, the part that made the angels stop and stare. You died for 3.2 seconds, but here you are, watching this video, breathing, listening. Who brought you back? Was there a doctor in the room with a defibrillator? No. Did an archangel fly down and touch your chest? No. Even they were just watching. You brought yourself back. Deep inside your spiritual DNA, there is a code, a dormant power that activates only in extreme emergencies. It is what we call God mode. Most people, if their heart stops, they need external help. They need intervention. But you have an unfair advantage. You have a self-sustaining light inside of you that refuses to be extinguished. Your soul recognized the danger. It saw that the body was failing, and without your conscious mind even knowing it, your soul commanded your heart to beat again. Thump, thump, just like that. You resurrected yourself. This is why the enemy has been attacking you so hard lately. This is why you have dealt with energy vampires and narcissists your entire life. They see that light. They see that resilience. They know that you are unkillable. They tried to bury you. They tried to break your spirit with rejection. They tried to crush you with loneliness. But every single time you came back, you rose again. You are a character development arc written by the Creator himself. And this automatic resurrection proves one thing definitively. You are not here by accident. You are not a mistake. You are a strategic weapon. You possess a divine immunity that protects you even from death itself until your mission is complete. You didn't just get lucky 11 days ago. You flexed a muscle you didn't know you had. So the next time you look in the mirror, look past the wrinkles, look past the tired eyes, look past the scars from your past, and see the warrior who walked into death and walked right back out, just to finish the job. You are dangerous to the darkness, and that is exactly why you are still here. Now, I want you to think about last night, or maybe the night before. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You woke up, your eyes just popped open. You rolled over and looked at the clock, and the numbers glowing in the dark were exactly 3:42 in the morning. You probably sighed. You probably thought it was just your insomnia acting up again. You thought it was anxiety about the bills, or maybe your mind started racing about that conversation with your family member who hasn't spoken to you in months. But listen to me. That was not insomnia. And that was not anxiety. At exactly 3:42 in the morning, while you were staring at your ceiling in the dark, There was a meeting taking place in the highest realms of heaven, and the only subject on the agenda was you. You need to understand the magnitude of what I am saying. Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, the entire inner circle of the celestial hierarchy. They didn't wait for business hours. They didn't wait for the sun to come up. They convened an emergency council because of what you did. For years, you have felt like the outcast, the odd one out, the black sheep. You have walked through the trenches alone. You have cried yourself to sleep asking God why you are so different, asking why your own family treats you like a stranger, asking why you attract people who drain you dry. You thought you were being punished. You thought maybe you did something wrong. But while you were laying in bed, Michael was pulling your file. He was pulling the spiritual records of your life. In the modern world, we call this pulling the receipts. And when the angels looked at your life, the room went silent. They looked at the abuse you suffered. They looked at the narcissists who tried to destroy your self-worth. They looked at the energy vampires who took your kindness for weakness. They saw every single tear you cried in secret. And Gabriel, the messenger, he spoke up. He said, "This human has no formal training. This human has no support system. This human has been attacked by the ops and matrix agents since the day they were born. How are they still standing? How did they survive the clinical death? How did they survive the heartbreak? How did they survive the betrayal? This is the moment of your vindication, because what the angels realized, and what I am telling you right now, is that your suffering was not a punishment. It was pressure testing. You know how diamonds are made. They are carbon that has been subjected to unbearable pressure. The reason you have faced so much opposition is not because you are weak. It is because you are a threat to the darkness. You are a high-value individual in the spirit realm, and the enemy has been trying to break you before you figured out who you really are. But they failed. Because as Michael reviewed your contract, the contract you signed before you were even born, he found something. He found a clause written in ink that only shows up when a soul reaches a certain level of maturity. It was clause 7.3. I want you to write that number down in your heart. 7.3. The other angels had missed it. The lower entities who tried to stop you had missed it. But there it was, staring them in the face. This clause changes everything. It states clearly that this specific soul, your soul, possesses divine immunity. It means you have an unfair advantage that most humans do not possess. The clause says that you are authorized to break the rules of reality. It says that you are allowed to die and come back to life if the mission requires it. It says that the laws of physics, the laws of time, the laws that bind normal people do not apply to you. You have been operating in God mode without even realizing it. Suddenly, the atmosphere in that council room shifted. It went from confusion to absolute reverence. Archangel Michael, the warrior of God, the one who defeated the dragon, he looked at your name on that file, and he knelt. He didn't kneel because you are better than him. He knelt because he realized you are the 12th primordial carrier. He realized that all the rejection you faced, all the times you were left out, all the times you were mocked for being too sensitive or too spiritual, it was all necessary. It was the fire that forged you. You are not a black sheep, honey. You are a lion who was raised by sheep, and you just woke up and roared. The gatekeepers who tried to block you, the ones who made you doubt yourself 11 days ago, they didn't know about clause 7.3. They didn't know they were messing with a protected asset. And because they tried to touch you, because they tried to interfere with a chosen one, they faced instant karma. They were removed from their positions. This is the spiritual definition of FAFO. They found out exactly who you belonged to. This meeting at 3 in the morning, it was not a trial. It was a coronation. They were not deciding if you were guilty. They were preparing for your vindication season. So when you feel that loneliness, when you feel that ache of being misunderstood, I want you to remember this. You are not alone. You are being watched over by the most powerful forces in the universe. And they are not just watching, they are preparing. They are preparing the table before you in the presence of your enemies. They are preparing to hand you the harvest that has been held up for years. The karmic debt of your family line, you paid it. The generational curses, you broke them. The shift is happening right now, inside your blood. You thought you were breaking down, but you were actually breaking through. You were shedding the old skin so that the new one could emerge. The glow-up isn't just physical, it is spiritual. You are the one who closes the cycle. You are the one who finishes what your ancestors couldn't. So wipe your tears, stand up straight, because you have a permission slip from the Creator himself that says you cannot be stopped. You are part of the inner circle now. And the next time you wake up at 3:42 in the morning, don't worry about the bills, don't worry about the loneliness. Just smile in the dark and say, I know you are working on it, Lord. I receive it. Because while the world sleeps, heaven is busy setting the stage for your victory. Now, I need to speak directly to the part of you that has always felt wrong. You know exactly what I am talking about. It is that feeling you get at family gatherings. You are sitting there, surrounded by blood relatives, surrounded by people who share your last name. And yet, you feel like you landed on the wrong planet. They talk about the weather, they talk about sports, they talk about gossip. And you are sitting there, feeling like you are suffocating. You look at them and wonder, how do they live like this? How can they be so content with just existing? For your entire life, you have been labeled. They called you the black sheep. They called you the rebel. They called you the difficult one. Or my favorite one, you are just too sensitive. You have walked through this life feeling like an outlier. You have wondered why you can't just fit in. You have wondered why you can't just be normal like everyone else. You have cried in your car, begging God to just make you like them so the loneliness would stop. But today, I am going to tell you the truth that will shatter that lie forever. You do not fit in, because you were never designed to fit in. You were designed to stand out. The reason you feel like a stranger in your own family is because your soul does not originate from the same place as theirs. When the archangels reviewed your file, they confirmed something that has only happened 12 times in the last 6,000 years. You are what we call a primordial carrier. Let that sink in. You are not just a soul trying to learn lessons. You are not just here to pay bills and die. You are a specific, strategic vessel designed for the end of an age. There are billions of people on this planet, billions of NPCs who are just playing their roles, but in any given cycle of history, there are only 12 souls like you allowed to be in a body at the same time. Just 12. You are rare. You are the diamond in a coal mine. And this is why your life has been so hard. This is why you have faced pressure testing that would have destroyed a normal person. If you put a jet engine inside a bicycle, the bicycle will break. Your family, your workplace, your community, they are the bicycle. And you are the engine. Your main character energy is simply too big for the small boxes they tried to put you in. So please, stop apologizing for your intensity. Stop trying to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You are not too much. You are just built different. And this brings me to the moment that changed everything in the celestial realms. When Archangel Michael, the commander of the heavenly hosts, realized who you were, he did something that has not been recorded in 3,000 years. He stood up from his seat at the head of the table. He looked at your file. He looked at the 19 words you spoke. He looked at the death you survived. And then he knelt. I want you to close your eyes and picture this. Archangel Michael, the being who defeated Lucifer, the warrior who fears nothing. He lowered himself to one knee in honor of you. The other 6 archangels followed him. Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, they all knelt. Why? Why would the princes of heaven kneel before a human who is struggling to pay rent? Why would they kneel before a human who feels broken and tired? Because they know the rank you hold. You see yourself as a victim of your circumstances. You see yourself as the person who lost everything in the divorce. You see yourself as the one who was fired, the one who was betrayed. But they see you as high command. They know that a primordial carrier only volunteers for the mission when the stakes are absolute. They know that you agreed to come into the trenches of earth, to have your memory wiped, to suffer the abuse of narcissists, just so you could be in position for this exact moment. They knelt because they respect your sacrifice. You are not the rejected one. You are the inner circle. You are the top 1% mindset of the spiritual hierarchy. And the reason they were so shaken, the reason heaven collapsed into silence, is because of the number. You are not number 7. You are not number 10. You are number 12. You are the last one. This is the most critical piece of information you will ever hear. You are the closer. Think about your life. Think about the delays. You have prayed for a husband, and it hasn't happened. You have prayed for financial freedom, and it has been blocked. You have prayed for peace, and every time you get close, chaos breaks out. You have screamed at the sky asking, "Why me? Why do I always have to wait? Why does everyone else get their blessing while I am stuck in the wilderness?" Here is your answer. You are the 12th carrier. You are the one who closes the cycle. God saves the best wine for last. He saves the strongest soldier for the final battle. The delay in your life was not a denial. It was a strategic holding pattern. If you had received your harvest 10 years ago, you would have settled. You would have become comfortable. You would have forgotten your mission. But because you were forced to wait, because you were forced to do the shadow work in the dark, you are now ready for something much bigger than a normal life. You are here to trigger the shift. When you complete your mission, when you speak your final truths, you are not just changing your life. You are breaking the cycle for every generation that came before you and every generation that will come after you. Your ancestors, the ones who lived in trauma, the ones who lived in poverty, they are all cheering for you right now, because when you win, they win. You are the vindication season for your entire bloodline. So the next time the enemy tries to tell you that you are behind, or that you are too old, or that you missed your chance, you tell them this: I am not late, I am the finale. I am the one who turns the lights out on the old world and flips the switch for the new one. You are number 12, and the waiting is almost over. Now, we need to talk about the resistance. You know exactly what I mean. Think back to that moment right before you spoke those 19 words. Think back to the seconds before you opened your mouth. Did you feel it? There was a sudden tightness in your throat, a wave of doubt that washed over you out of nowhere. A little voice in the back of your head that whispered, "Don't say that, you will sound crazy. Just keep your mouth shut. Just be agreeable." For your entire life, you have believed that voice was your own. You have believed that you are the one who is insecure. You have believed that you are the one who is full of fear. But I am here to tell you, that voice was not you. That doubt did not belong to you. That was the ops. The Celestial Council revealed that there were 3 specific entities assigned to monitor you. In the spiritual world, we call them gatekeepers. These are not the good guys. These are matrix agents. Their entire job description is to keep you small. Their only mission is to make sure you never find out how powerful you really are. They are the invisible force behind every energy vampire you have ever dated. They are the puppet masters behind every narcissist who has tried to destroy your self-esteem. When you were getting ready to speak, when you were getting ready to trigger that timeline shift, they panicked. They saw the light rising up in your throat, and they tried to choke it out. That dizziness you felt, that wasn't just physical, that was spiritual warfare. That was 3 ancient entities trying to tackle your soul before you could deliver the message. They tried to make you cancel the meeting. They tried to make you forget what you were going to say. They threw every single weapon they had at you in those final seconds, but you ignored them. You pushed through the fear. You pushed through the doubt. You opened your mouth and you spoke the truth anyway. And because you did that, because you refused to be silenced, something happened that gave me chills when I learned about it. This is the part where you get your justice. You need to understand something about spiritual law. There are rules. And one of the oldest rules in the universe is this: do not touch God's anointed. The war for your soul is over, and you won. The next time a negative thought tries to creep in, the next time you feel that old familiar doubt, you just smile. You remind yourself that the gatekeepers are gone, and you tell yourself, I am the one who stayed. I am the one who spoke, and I am the one who is still standing. God has cleared the path. The enemy has been evicted, and now it is time for you to occupy your territory. So, where do we go from here? You are probably asking yourself a question right now. You are asking, if I am this primordial carrier, if I am number 12, what happens next? You might be feeling a little bit of anxiety, and that is normal, because for your entire life, whenever something big happened, it usually meant something bad was coming. You're used to the other shoe dropping. You are used to the chaos. But I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to listen to the timeline I'm about to give you. Because this time, the future is not a threat. It is a promise. According to the records that Archangel Michael reviewed, you have already completed 29 violations. That sounds like a scary word, violations. But remember, in your case, a violation just means you broke a chain that was holding humanity down. That leaves exactly 15 more steps. Based on the current speed of your spiritual awakening, we are looking at a timeline of approximately 18 weeks. 18 weeks. That is about 4 months. That is not a long time. You have waited decades for this. You have walked through the wilderness season for years without a map. And now, you can finally see the finish line. In these next 18 weeks, you are going to experience something that we call the ultimate glow-up. But this isn't about getting a new haircut or losing weight. This is about your spirit finally taking the wheel. You are going to find yourself saying things that surprise you. You are going to find yourself walking away from people who used to control you, and you won't even feel guilty about it. You will feel light. You will feel free. Each of these next 15 steps is not a burden. It is a key being turned in a lock. And when you turn that final key, when you reach violation number 44, something magnificent is going to happen. The celestial files call it the Atlantis event. Now, do not let that name scare you. I know when we hear Atlantis, we think of a flood. We think of destruction. We think of a civilization sinking under the waves because they messed up. But this is not that. This is the redemption of that story. The last time humanity had access to total knowledge, the last time the dimensional barriers came down, we weren't ready. We didn't have the stabilizers. We didn't have the 12 pillars to hold the energy. But this time we have you. You are the reason this story has a happy ending. When you complete your mission in 18 weeks, the veil is going to drop for exactly 44 seconds. 44 seconds. It doesn't sound like much, but in God's time, that is an eternity. For 44 seconds, the matrix is going to dissolve. Imagine this. For less than a minute, every single lie on this planet will be exposed. Every politician who lied will be seen. Every narcissist who gaslighted you will be forced to see the truth. Every person who called you crazy will suddenly, instantly, understand exactly who you are. It will be a moment of absolute clarity. A timeline shift that pushes humanity into a higher dimension. And the only reason we will survive it, the only reason the world won't collapse like a building in an earthquake, is because you will be standing there holding the line. When those three entities tried to block you, they made a fatal miscalculation. They treated you like a normal human. They thought you were just another sheep they could scare back into the pen. They did not know about Clause 7.3. They did not check your file to see that you are a primordial carrier. They tried to block an operation that was authorized by the highest level of heaven, and that is a crime in the spiritual courts. So, while you were recovering from your temporary death, there was a judgment happening. Those three entities were stripped of their rank immediately. They were removed from their positions. They were cast out of your energy field, and they were sent to the lowest vibration possible to pay for their insolence. We talk a lot about instant karma, but this was faster than instant. This was return to sender with nuclear force. In the modern world, we have a saying for this. We call it FAFO. They messed around, and they found out. They touched the wrong one. They thought you were weak because you have been wounded. They didn't realize that your wounds are exactly what makes you dangerous. You have divine immunity, and anyone, spirit or human, who tries to stand in the way of your mission from this point forward will face the same fate. They have been fired permanently. So what does this mean for you right now? It means the air around you is clear. Have you noticed it? Maybe you have felt a strange sense of peace in the last few days. Maybe the people who usually annoy you just haven't been calling. Maybe the heavy cloud that usually hangs over your head feels like it has lifted. That is because the blockage is gone. The interference has been removed. You are entering a vindication season. For years, you've been fighting a battle that you couldn't see. You've been running a race with weights tied to your ankles. You've been trying to build a life while invisible enemies were knocking down your bricks. But that cycle ended 11 days ago. You are breaking the cycle, not just for yourself, but for your children and your grandchildren. The curses that followed your bloodline, they stopped the moment you spoke those words. The addiction, the poverty, the divorce, the depression, it all ended with you. You are the firewall, the narcissists in your life. Watch them closely in the next few weeks. Watch them lose their power. Watch them get confused. Watch them try to play their old games and fail. They will try to push your buttons, but the buttons won't work anymore, because the entities that were feeding them information are gone. You have leveled up. You have moved to a frequency where they cannot touch you. So I want you to walk with your head high today. You didn't just survive the attack. You dismantled the attackers. You didn't just get through the storm. You became the storm. You are the spiritual asset that God placed on this earth to keep it steady. You and the other 11 carriers. You are the anchors in the storm. While everyone else is panicking, while everyone else is trying to process the sudden flood of truth, you will be calm, you will be steady, because you have been preparing for this your whole life. You have been practicing for this in the dark. You have been practicing every time you forgave someone who didn't deserve it. You have been practicing every time you kept praying when you wanted to quit. You are the safety net for the rest of us. And here is the best part. Here is the part that will make your spirit shout. What happens to you after the event? You have spent your life paying debts that didn't belong to you. You paid the karmic debt of your parents. You paid the debt of your ancestors. You carried burdens that were too heavy for your shoulders. But when that 44th second ticks by, your account is settled, paid in full. The suffering ends, the struggle ends. The loneliness ends. You enter a phase of what we call infinite ROI. That stands for return on investment. Everything you lost is coming back. Every tear you cried is being converted into joy. Every dollar the enemy stole from you is being returned with interest. God is not a debtor. He keeps good records, and He knows exactly what you are owed. You are moving from a season of fighting into a season of receiving. This is your harvest. The Atlantis event isn't the end of the world. It is the end of the lies. It is the end of the fake world that hurt you. So over the next 18 weeks, when you feel the pressure building, don't run, don't hide. Just remember that you are in labor. You are birthing a new world, and the pain you feel right now, it is just the contraction before the delivery. You are almost there. The finish line is in sight. You are the 12th, you are the closer, and because of you, we are all going to make it home. Do not scroll away yet. You need to seal this revelation before the Matrix agents try to snatch it from your memory. The ops want you to think this was just entertainment, but your soul knows this was a mandatory system update. If you leave now without closing the loop, you leave the door open for doubt to return. I want to pray for you right now. Father, I ask that you activate Clause 7.3 in the spirit of this warrior. Give them the strength to handle the shadow work of the next 18 weeks. I declare divine immunity over their mind and body. I declare that their vindication season manifests not in years, but in days, now. Make your mark. Do not remain silent. Type 777 in the comments below. This is not just a number. It is your digital signature confirming you are part of the inner circle. By typing this, you are telling the universe you are ready for infinite ROI. But listen closely. Your level up is not complete yet. To understand exactly what happens during the 44 seconds of the Atlantis event, the Holy Spirit is guiding you to this next video appearing on your screen. Click it now and finish what God has started in you.